o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I get a motion to accept the minutes of November 16th.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes from the November 16th meeting.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Get a motion to accept the financial report and payment of the bills.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Steve, we have some budget amendments.
Yes, I do have four tonight. The first is 2012-004. Is recognize $100 in donations revenue for the purpose of supplying a miscellaneous expense for the town's holiday decorating contest.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept budget amendment 2012-004?
I'll make a motion to accept budget amendment number 2012-004.
Have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Second budget amendment is 2012-005 is to take from fund balance $500 for the purpose of establishing an Elkton High School scholarship fund.
Okay. I have a motion to accept budget number 2012-005.
I so move that we accept the budget amendment that allows for a scholarship at Elkton High School.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Third budget amendment is number 2012-006, is to recognize a $7,700 local government insurance trust training grant for the purpose of providing snowplow simulation training for public works employees.
I have a motion to accept budget amendment 2012-006.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Final budget amendment is number 2012-007, is to take $314,800 out of the fund balance that is reserved for highway user revenue to use for purpose of street repaving.
Okay, do I have a motion for accept budget amendment 2012-007?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
motion second, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Is that project, everything all done, Lewis?
Yes.
Okay. All right, now we have a public hearing for Lands of Belleville Road, LLC.
Good evening,
Dwight?
Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Dwight Tony with William Lauer of Bell Hill LLC here to present this annexation request. As you know, we had been here before on a couple of occasions to discuss this. We think we finally worked through all of the issues. I'm hoping that the annexation plan that was prepared, I believe, by the town planning office, which is extremely well done, will be made a part of the record. And it reflects that this is approximately 27.8 acres of commercial property. It has upon it a commercial building that had previously been used as a truck sales and service business, a very nice facility. They are actively, once they get past this and everything's resolved, they are actively trying to bring in a new user for that property. The annexation plan, as you know, they've indicated they would limit if they were going to do any further expansion of use on that property to no more than 20,000 gallons of water and sewer usage per day. They're nowhere near that at this point in time. The property will be serviced by Artesian Water Company. They've negotiated an easement with Artesian Water Company, who is actively engaged in preparing to run the water line down to serve the property, and would be served by the town sewer system. And again, there's some on-site improvements they will need to address for that, and a little bit of off-site work, but not very much. Mr. George and I have communicated back and forth with regard to that, and have that pretty well resolved and documented. And this is a property that is in the business-intensive district of the county. We're proposing that it would be in your highway corridor commercial C3 district in the town. The two fit together. The county has indicated that they are not opposed to this annexation or this zoning classification. And we think it will be a good quality commercial property in an area where your plan indicates you're supposed to have mixed commercial uses out there, and will add to the tax base of the town and be a benefit to the town. So that's pretty well, in a nutshell, I think what we presented to you before. We're here to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions? Jeannie, you have anything?
The Elkton Planning Commission has reviewed the request, and Monday, January 10th, 2011, have recommended approval of the annexation and have recommended the zoning classification of C3, highway interchange commercial.
All right, this is a public hearing. Does anyone wish to speak for or against this project? Anyone wishing to speak for or against this project? Okay, then this public hearing is now closed. So, can I get a motion to accept annexation resolution A3-2011?
So moved.
Second?
Any other further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. If you don't mind, if we can be excused, Mr. Lauer has been traveling on business and needs to
Oh,
get moving, and I have another meeting that I told
a
him.
little nasty out there.
If I might, Mayor and Commissioners, I would just like to thank and publicly commend Gene Minner, the planning staff, as well as Mr. Trossel for their exemplary work over a 3-year period. We're delighted to be part of the civic life in the town and will be a credit to your community. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If I had a nice Christmas, but I don't see you before then.
Thank you. Same here.
Take care.
Okay, Elkton Chamber and Alliance annual report. Mr. Bollinger?
Were we quick enough, Nelson?
Yes. Mayor Fasano and members of the town council, I want to thank you for the opportunity to come and speak to you tonight to talk about the Elkton Alliance. I also want to express the Elkton Alliance feeling, how much we appreciate how you have been actively involved with us. And we do appreciate, I might say, as you well know, it's never enough, but we do appreciate what you have done for us. Tonight, in deciding what we were going to present to you, it came to our mind that each month you receive a copy of our minutes. You also receive a copy of our financial statements. So we thought rather than going over those, it would be more important to explain to you some of the things that we do that you might not be aware of. As I'm sure you are aware, we operate for the town of Elkton the Maryland Main Street program. This was a program that was signed off by the town, and we are the designated operators of that program. We are one of 23 designated Maryland Main Streets. This was designated in May of 2003. We have also received national designation for the past 6 years. This means the National Historic Trust has recognized us for what we do. We are one of 18 designated Maryland Arts and Entertainment Districts, designated in June of 2006. As you can see, we have several people up here that are going to speak. Don't be overwhelmed. We want to give you a good background on the Main Street program. The Main Street program is run by 5 committees. And before we get into those committees, let me introduce the people that are here tonight, all of whom are members of the Elkton Alliance and Chamber. We have Larry Krause over on my far left, Margie Blyston, Roger Owens, next to me, Kathy Kunda, and Jessica Price. We all have a part in this program that
hopefully will give you a better background of some of the things we do. One of the committees is the Organization Committee, and that is made up of the Elkton Chamber Board of Directors. And I'm not too sure how many of you are aware of who the Board of Directors are. The 2012 directors are Margie Blystone, who is a paper artist and part owner of the Palette and the Page. Mike Burcham, who is the president of Macrone Incorporated. Mary Beth Cole-Snadowski, who is a pharmacist and the owner of Lyons Pharmacy. Larry Kraus Jr., Kraus Brothers HVAC Incorporated. Candy Davis, operating manager of Elkton Gas. Joe Fasano, mayor of Elkton. Donald Hicks, owner of Hicks Home for Funerals. Donna Kitts, vice president, branch manager of the PNC Bank. Kathy Kunda, BPAC coordinator for the Cecil County Public Schools. Dr. Kenneth Lewis, president and CEO of Union Hospital. Kelly McKenna, marketing manager for the Ingerman Company. Liz Leone Monti, director of business development for APG Federal Credit Union. Roger Owens, owner of Rymark Financial and O'Clean Laundry. Dr. W. Stephen Panel, president of Cecil College. Linda Tipton, public affairs manager, government affairs, and public policy of Delmarva Power. Also, honorary members as of 2012, Dwight Hare, Francis Whitaker, and Nelson Bolander. Always wanted to be an honorary member. I've reached that milestone in my life. I thought I heard someone moan up there. Sorry, Charlie. I've already introduced the committee chairs, but I will start with the first person that's going to speak, and she will be speaking on design, arts, and entertainment. Margie Blystone, the chairperson of that committee.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Margie Blystone. I am a volunteer. I have been volunteering with the Elkton Alliance since 2007 and the Festival of Trees that Mary Jo got me involved in, and Mary Jo continues to get me involved in things, so that's why I'm speaking tonight, and I am not a public speaker, so bear with me. So 2007, I worked on the Festival of Trees, and in 2008 I had a small gift shop downtown where I wrapped gifts for the month of December. 2009 I began managing the Main Street Art Bazaar, and that was a something that Mary Jo put together so that we could take an empty storefront downtown and put something into it other than a bail bonds office. So that turned into a group of women becoming business owners in January of this year. I am the most reluctant business owner on on Main Street due to the fact that I was heading a project that then became a business. In 2010, I was asked to chair Elkton's Arts and Entertainment District, and in 2011, I became a board member of the Alliance. I became involved because I love Elkton, and I moved here 8 years ago and wanted to do something to give back to my community. And the more that I've done here, it's become my passion to make this a strong community, a place where people can meet each other on the street and enjoy the activities that happen downtown. As I said before, the co-op that I am involved in is an artist co-op that was put together by the Elkton Alliance. It was an empty building, and we were able to get the owner of that shop to come down on rent because some money is better than no money. And he has continued to work with us at a low rent, and we have developed First Fridays downtown. We're getting very positive feedback. The first Friday of each month, we have the community come down. We have refreshments, live music, and the other places downtown are also getting involved. The college, the Art Space on Main, the Arts Council. When we have something going at all of these places, we can have hundreds of people downtown walking up and down the street, greeting each other, and it is a beautiful thing to see. Let's see. I am continuing to walk the line now as a business owner and a member of the Elkton Alliance and a member of the Arts and Entertainment District to make sure that I'm completely fair to the business owners, the other merchants downtown, and sort of label myself with wherever I am at each point in time. It tends to be kind of crazy for me. Let's see. I am, as I mentioned before, I am also an Arts and Entertainment District Chairman, and this involves going to conferences each year. The first year I was chairman, I went to Annapolis for a day conference, and last year one of my colleagues and I at the shop went to a conference in Frederick, Maryland. We went the night before so that we could walk around downtown, talk to different people involved with the Arts District there. And that was on our own dime. We wanted to get as much information as we could out of that conference so we could bring that back to Elkton. As the chairman, I also prepare annual reports, and I work in conjunction with the Elkton Alliance to bring events downtown. We're currently working on doing something each Friday of these first 3 Fridays in December to bring people together. This Friday night we've got a choir coming in and singing, serving hot chocolate and cookies. We did our first Friday event last Friday night, and next Friday night we're having the cookie throwdown, where we're going to have different merchants involved. All of these different things are helping the merchants in that we're trying to bring more people into town so that they will shop local. Let's see. I also wanted to note that as an A&E district chairman, I found out at the state conference I was at that I'm one of only 2 districts. We are one of only 2 districts in the state of Maryland that this is an unpaid position, Salisbury, Maryland being the other district. So you're very lucky you have such a great volunteer. As a design person, I have worked with the college to decorate windows downtown. We've been trying to take some of these empty buildings and put something in so it looks active and it draws more people who want to open a business downtown. So the empty art space building, we put an art installation in there which promotes the college and the arts at the college. And I worked in conjunction with the college on that. I've been working with Jessica Price here, going to all the merchants to get them on board with decorating their windows so people can drive downtown and see everything look great for the holidays. Let's see, I also worked with Mary Jo and the Elkton Alliance on putting the planters, the pots that you see up and down Main Street. And that, fortunately, we were given petunias that were donated by Elkton Florist. And my daughter and I went up and down Main Street and potted flowers for 2 years in a row. This past year, we had volunteers from the Relay for Life teams work on those for us, and that was wonderful. That was another event that I worked on this year, was the Paint the Town Purple campaign for the Relay for Life that came in, and I'm going to be working with them next year also. Another thing that I'm working on, or is coming down the pike, is our 225th anniversary for the town of Elkton. So Mary Jo and I are coming up with unique ways to market ourselves and do some really special things for the town for that event. Let's see, also coming up, there's a lot of stuff I'm doing. I wanted to mention that the women that I work with at the Palette and the Page are a fabulous group of women that came together on this project. Patty Paulus, who's here tonight, Diane Price, Jessica Price, Lynn Witt, and Janet Youse are the girls that are running this. And each of these girls has the same passion to see something positive happen in Elkton with the businesses, with the arts. Each of us is paying $200 a month rent to a pot so that we can handle the rent on our own. And we're so busy trying to work this business and do these events for downtown that we rarely have opportunity to work on our own artwork so that we can sell it out of the shop. So that there is a huge amount of sacrifice of time and effort that goes into that, and I'd like to recognize these women. I will be attending the National Main Street Conference in Baltimore as a volunteer in 2012, and I will be paying out of pocket for my food and lodging for those 3 days. I will be attending the A&E District Conference, which will also be taking place at that time. They believe, they're not quite sure yet, and again, that will be out of pocket. I'm working with Mary Jo on hosting Wyoming delegates that will be coming for the National Main Street Conference, and we want to do something really special to welcome these people that singled us out to come visit our town. I am also a member of the Dave's Running Club, which just started downtown, and Dave Moore wants to start a 5K walk, run walk that will happen in conjunction with our 225th anniversary, and that will be Memorial Day weekend. He and I and one of his other runners are trying to raise funds so that we can put a first-class run on for that day. And he actually wrote a letter that I'd like to submit to you, copies to you, that he wrote. He wanted to make sure that you knew what the Elkton Alliance has done for him. So I think that's about all that I have to tell you, but thank you very much.
She forgot one thing. You know, it's the Christmas season, and she will be doing rapping again this year to benefit the Boys and Girls Club of Elkton. So I think we should all make sure. I'll be there tomorrow, I think. If I get my way.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, to discuss economic restructuring, the committee chair, Kathy Kunda. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Kathy Kunda, and I've only been on the job for 2 weeks, so I can tell you that my report is much shorter. I don't have that many accomplishments, and I don't think I could ever match what Margie I'm putting in. She gets a raise. I am proud to be a partner of the Elkton Alliance in the town of Elkton. I'm on the Elkton board as a representative of the Cecil County Public Schools, thanks to Nelson Bolander, who insisted. I've been part of the Elkton Alliance, at least come to their meetings and attended their lunches for the past 14 years. I'm grateful for the opportunity to help the economic growth of Elkton. I wasn't sure how I qualified for this position, but everybody quickly jumped on my case and said it is because of my connections that through my job as the BPAC coordinator for the Cecil County Public Schools that keeps me in the loop of what's going on in the region, and the regional partners, all the research and development that's happening here and what's coming, the region being Harford, Cecil, and Newcastle counties. A few of my affiliations include my primary connection, of course, is the BPAC, Business and Education Partnerships, because we all know without a good, solid educational system, knowledge and skills, that's what we need for economic growth. I am the BRAC liaison for Cecil County Public Schools since November of 2005. I'm a member of the Northeastern Maryland Technology Council, the Army Alliance, I'm an academic partner with the Delaware Biotechnology Institute and the Cecil Business Resource Partners. The Cecil Business Resource Partners is one of our strongest partnerships because it entails the Office of Economic Development, Small Business Association, Cecil College, Cecil County Chamber, the Small Business Office from the library, and the Cecil County Public Schools. This group meets monthly to discuss the economic developments, small business help that's been extended to prospective new businesses, training, grant opportunities for businesses, legislative issues affecting businesses, and educational needs for all. Each of the members belong to other organizations, and our mission is to make sure that we're all kept in the loop so that we can broadly share the information that each of us brings to that committee. I attend the meetings regularly and can share that with the Elkton Alliance now that I'm on the board. The Alliance works with businesses that have to relocate, especially the BRAC businesses, because they need to be in hub zones. The Alliance played a crucial role in getting Integrity Tools to come to Elkton because they needed to be in a hub zone in order to get those government contracts. Integrity was referred to the Alliance by the Small Business Administration, Michael Garrity. We are currently working with the American Partner Technologies LLC to locate them here in Elkton. The company offers a turnkey operation to develop and manage projects that are for sustainable energy, water filtration, roof restoration, and green roofs. The Cecil Business Resource Partners are connected with the Maryland State Department of Economic Development. We're always hearing about the green grants, so hopefully we can offer those to the businesses coming in. One of our goals for the Alliance is to work closely with the town on the Sustainable Communities application. The Alliance is an important component in that application process. Some of the things that have been going on, as you've heard or you've read about, Cecil County has been targeted as one of the 5 counties in the United States to be the next Silicon Valley. I'm sure that comes because we're getting broadband across the county tomorrow, I hope. Anyway, Elkton is poised for a major business and residential growth from that. Between the BRAC legislation and the development of the Chrysler site, Elkton is a primary fit for businesses to come here. Recently, the University of Delaware's architect and campus planner presented an outline of all that was going on over at the Chrysler site. He focused mainly on the energy company that was moving in there and some of the commercial properties. In January, we will have the Dean of the Health Sciences coming in and show us what's going on with the health. The close proximity to APG and the Delaware Biotechnical Institute, where a lot of research is going on, in addition to the expansion of the University of Delaware's health sciences on the site, will bring major firms and health professionals to the area. They will need a place to shop, they will need a place to live, they'll be a place to set up business. I'm sure that the collaboration, both experienced in the past and the future outlook of the Elkton government and the Alliance, will ensure Elkton gets a major part of that economic growth. This past Monday, the Army Alliance annual meeting, Secretary Anthony Presipi told the audience that the success of BRAC at APG sets them up to be a potential candidate for any bases that will be closed with the inevitable Department of Defense budget cuts. So we haven't seen the last of it. And I can tell you right now, there are people that are not permanently sound over in Harford County, and they're looking in Cecil to move, and they want to bring their businesses here as well. It is unfortunate that Cecil County missed the substantial BRAC business impact, but I am convinced we're going to see the impact from the residual contracts. I hope we, the Alliance, can count on your continued support so the town of Elkton can be poised for the next phase of BRAC, the residual contractors that will be coming both for APG and the University of Delaware. I am confident the town of Elkton, in collaboration with the Alliance, will show the county how it's done. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Next, the person behind the scenes, who is probably just as important, if not more than important, than any of us. That's Jessica Price, who will tell you about the 2012 events planned for the town and the daily operations that go on.
Before I begin, I'm going to hand you a little packet of information.
Thank you.
As you may know, the Elkton Alliance has many hats. We are not only the Downtown Revitalization Group, but we are also the Town Chamber of Commerce. We operate the Visitor Center. We're the Main Street managers, and we also manage the Arts and Entertainment District. Of everyone here this evening representing our organization at this table, I'm actually the only paid staff. We are very fortunate to have an entire board made of volunteers, and I'm sure I don't have to tell you how important volunteers are. And I just want to thank everyone for being here, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate them and the effort that they put into our organization. As the administrative assistant, my duties include manning the visitor center for the town. This year alone, we have seen an increase in traffic to our visitor center, especially during the spring and summer months. Most of the inquiries we get are related to the town's history and family genealogies, things such as that. And having a bachelor's in history, I do take great pride in being able to interact with all our visitors and hopefully give them a little bit more information on our town and greet them, because we are often the first impression of the town, so I like to make sure that everyone's given a great deal of attention. Because we are a visitor center, it's also my duty to contact the tourism distribution centers to make sure that our offices are fully stocked with all of the calendar of events, destination guides, tour guides, and the addition of the kiosk that the Elkton Alliance was able to receive from a grant has helped us distribute more materials and make sure that things are available even when our office is closed. The past couple of years, we've also seen an increase in requests for the relocation information, most likely due to the BRAC. We have mail packets out to Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Florida, Arizona, and the relocation packets are produced in-house. I believe the town was able to get a grant for the folders, but we do update all the information in the packets, and I do try to update that yearly as new information comes out, and there actually is a copy of that packet in that folder. Because the Elkton Chamber Alliance is the Main Street manager, we were placed in charge of the facade restoration program. There's a packet that details that program within that folder as well. Through that program, we were able to receive $425,000 worth of facade grants that helped generate over $2 million in improvements to the town of Elkton. The state has discontinued that program, but the Elkton Alliance is now working with DBED on the Be Smart low interest loan programs to help our businesses and residential residences in the town. And I won't go over that in detail because I believe our chair, Ozma Manajawala, has already been before your board to discuss that. Our job as Main Street managers means that we have to follow the 5-point approach, which Nelson was talking about earlier: organization, promotions, designs, economic restructuring, and clean, safe, and green. And as Nelson had stated, every year our organization is evaluated by the National Trust of Historic Preservation, and those that live up to those standards will receive national accreditation, which we do every year. Promotions are an integral part of being a Main Street program, because having a beautiful town really means nothing unless you have the people to come downtown to admire it. That's why it's so important that we try to have events that showcase our town. It's our role to try to bring people downtown. I've included a list of all the events that we have planned for the upcoming year. Among those are our successful car shows that bring locals and visitors downtown. They've grown. We do them in the spring and summer now. We average around 100 cars, and it brings hundreds of visitors to the town who eat in our restaurants and shop in our stores. New this year, for the holidays, we have instituted a hidden holiday treasure hunt where we encourage our downtown merchants to decorate for the holidays. And then we made a scavenger hunt game out of it, so people will come down and visit our shops and look at the beautiful decorations. The biggest event that Margie was talking about earlier was our the Memorial Day Parade and the town 225th anniversary that we're planning in May. I've already met with Lieutenant Waldridge to talk about a proposed route, and we've also had we've spoken to the Heritage Troop, Historical Society, local veterans organizations, and schools about participating in the event, and we're looking to do some planning meetings shortly, and we are still looking for any volunteers that would like to help out with that event. This past year, the Elkton Alliance has worked with our downtown merchants to help design promotional materials for our local small businesses that may not have the resources that bigger companies do to help design marketing materials. I've worked with Brothers Pizza, Howard House, and Lions to design coupons, flyers, gift certificates, even helped Howard House create a new menu. I've actually put a couple examples in there of what we do free of charge from the Alliance, just to try to help out the smaller businesses. In the future, we hope to work with the town with the Sustainable Communities application, so the town can continue to receive grants from the state, such as the Community Legacy and the CDBG monies. And since 1994, the town has received over $2 million from these grants, and these will be unavailable unless we are able to, the town is to become Sustainable Community designation. I would like to thank the board for the opportunity to speak this evening, and would like everyone to know that our doors are always open. If anyone ever has any questions, please stop by. We're always there and willing to help out and answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
There was only one statement Jessica made that I would take exception to. She said she was the only paid member. She is the most underpaid pay member. Next, I would like to call on Larry Kraus to give some words.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. First, I want to pass out a couple papers for you real quick. Okay. In front of you is the attached papers for a comparison of budget for 2012. We took Havre de Grace, for instance, and we went with them because they're the most comparable town compared to Elkton as far as population. And first of all, I don't have a speech prepared. I don't know how I can follow all these speeches here. So I've never prepared speeches. I've always just spoke what I thought. So if I kind of hang up a little bit, that's why. So, with that said, throughout the paperwork that I have printed out for you there, I highlighted a couple of things, and I hope you guys take a minute to look at all of those. I'm not going to go through all of them, but it kind of gives you an idea of how much money that they allocate for certain, for their town events, their town marketing and tourism, their economic development, their volunteer organizations, and so on. The total amount budget, economic development, marketing, tourism, the Main Street program, which includes the art and entertainment district for the town of Havre de Grace, is $394,600. The total amount for the town of Elkton is $50,000. And based on what you've heard from these folks here and volunteers, they do an awful lot of work for a little tiny bit of money. In the back of the packet there is the calendar year budget that I've done up earlier this week for next year's budget. And I also included in there last year's, the 2011. And if you look at the 2011, it's $134,000. And you look at the total expenses for this year's budget, it's $122,000. Okay? We cut things down to the bare minimum because there's not a lot there. We do these events, I'm trying to explain to you guys what we actually do. The events that we do, the promotions that we do, a lot of these things, the volunteers will come and give it out of their pockets to try to help the Elkton Alliance, to try to help the town, bring more people into this town, more people into the Main Street, more people on the North Street. My business is about 50 yards from here, right up the street here. So I'm very into everything the town has to offer for everybody else. But without the, without the support and help of these volunteers that we have here, they wouldn't be able to do it. We wouldn't be able to do it. I would hope you take a minute and really look at the things that I highlighted for you, because I studied those things, studied those numbers, and really looked at them, and I was really shocked at what Havre de Grace. And again, it's just one town that's not that far from here. Everybody in this room has probably been to Havre de Grace, and compared those numbers, and I still like this town better. You know, I still like this town better. And Havre de Grace is, you know, it has the water. We don't have the water, but I still like this town a whole lot better. A whole lot better. I've been on this board since March of 2007. I had a good friend of mine came to me. He knows I do a lot of volunteering for, you know, various things. I coach softball. I coach a lot of softball. I'm a head coach at Carabel Academy High School in Delaware. He says, "Listen, I got an opportunity here to invite you on to a board that I think you'd be able to help out." So I listened to him. That particular person is Dwight Hare of Elkton, Florida, who's been involved in this town for a long time, who means very well in everything he does. He's a class act. So I said, okay. I joined it in March of 2007, not knowing what I was getting into. I don't want to get off this board at all now. You know, I've been involved in not every, but pretty much every event that we have, whether it's a volunteer, whether it's, you know, a judge or whatever it might be, for the better of the town. I was appointed to the executive board earlier the end of last year, 2010, as the treasurer. So then I had to do a little bit of homework. So I went ahead and realized that, you know, I look at every single check that I sign and double look at every single check that I sign to make sure, is there any way we can cut something, you know, to help out. And I will be the vice chairman for next year. I'm looking very forward to that, to move on and pass my experience as being the treasurer for an entire year to next in line, to be able to help them help this town. I'm a business owner in this town. I have every interest for everybody in here, in this town. I want to see it grow the right way. And the right way starts in this room. It starts in this room. So I want to thank you very much for supporting the Elkton Alliance. I really want to thank you for supporting the Main Street program. Because I know every one of you have seen my building down the street. And without the facade grant, I would have never been able to afford to do what we've done to that building. And you know, it turned out to be a beautiful building that has been there for many, many years. We've been in business now since 1952, and you know, we're here to stay. We're here to stay. So I thank you very much for supporting us. I didn't quite have a speech like they did. Now our budget is in there. I'm available all the time. Just get a hold of me. I'm right up the street, or everything I have is down to Elkton Alliance. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have saved the best for last. This is probably my last official job as chairman, and I'm glad to hear the enthusiasm of Larry. Not that I'm not enthusiastic, but I was telling someone the other day, I came on the board my first year as county commissioner when Bill Berkeley invited me, and I feel like I've been chairman ever since that. Now that was a long time ago. But we have a superb incoming chairman. If you ever come to the Halloween parade, you know he can do a great job. So to close our presentation tonight, the 2012 Chairman of the Alliance, Roger Owens.
Thank you, Nelson.
Greetings and thank you for taking the time to hear about the enthusiasm and hard work from the many volunteers and staff at the Elkton Chamber Alliance. Now, sometimes I think we fail to blow our own horn, and people don't see all the work that we do and all the devotion that goes into making this organization great. My name is Roger Owens. I own and operate 3 separate businesses here in the town of Elkton. I also own property here, and I've been involved with Elkton all my life. I even worked for the town several years while I was in high school, at Elkton High School. I'm the face of an Elkton business person, and I share the same goals as most of the people in this room, and certainly the goals of the Elkton Chamber Alliance. At the Elkton Chamber Alliance, we're committed to attracting businesses and individuals into Elkton. This commitment benefits local businesses, individuals, and it also benefits the town. Businesses that thrive will hire more workers and expand. Individuals will find employment, entertainment, and a friendly place to raise their family. And the town will benefit through increased tax base and prolonged prosperity. I know everyone in this room has the same goals of success for Elkton that we do. Now, you've heard some of our members explain exactly what we do at the Elkton Chamber Alliance, but there is much, much more. Too much for me to cover tonight in this short period of time together. We'd like to show you more. Please feel free to attend any of our meetings or any of our functions. We'd like to see you there, and you'll be truly surprised at what you see us doing and how we do it. Now, Mayor and Commissioners, we are at a crossroads. We look forward to the future economic recovery, growth from BRAC, and advancements in technology related to BRAC. We're primed to benefit and grow this town. That is, if we don't screw it up. We are the county seat and the most visible town in Cecil County. So where do we go from here? Before we say that, let's look back. 10 years ago, the Elkton Chamber Alliance received $100,000 from the town of Elkton each year to carry out the duties of public relations, economic development, tourism, and promotion. We are your economic development team. In 2011, as Larry said, the Chamber Alliance received only $50,000 for the year. And as you've heard, we're doing more now than we ever did before. You heard from volunteer Mary Blystone. She told her incredible, from the heart, passionate plans for the arts in Elkton. We didn't have her 10 years ago, but we do now. Jessica Price told you about the daily workload at the Elkton Chamber Alliance office. She told you about the requests for packets, for visitors, for tourists, for people that want to come to town. You heard from Kathy Kunda tell us about the economic development and what it means to Elkton and why it's important to all of us. And you heard our Vice Chairman Larry Krause compare Elkton's economic development, marketing, tourism, promotion, and Main Street programs budget. Compare that to the Havre de Grace. Their budget for 2011 was over $394,000. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to ask the Mayor and Commissioners to consider increasing the funding for the Elkton Alliance, Elkton Chamber Alliance, so that we can continue the work for the town and increase our activities and promotion and economic development for everyone who lives and works here. Now, I know times are tight, and you're asking yourself, where do we get the money from? Well, the solution is here, the time is now, and the money is available. It's simple. We suggest that you consider using the hotel tax. Now, this would be tourism dollars flowing to economic development, promotion, and tourism for the town of Elkton without charging our taxpayers. This increase in our budget will allow us to continue to be your economic development team, your promotions department, and your Department of Tourism. The alternative is to watch as we are passed over for the other towns that dare to promote themselves through tourism, business, and economic growth. I appreciate your time here tonight and welcome any questions that you might have. Thanks again and good night.
Thank you. That concludes our presentation for tonight. As Roger said, if you have any questions, we'd be glad to try and answer them. And I would also like to say, like Dwight said to you, there are several people that would like to attend another meeting just outside of town. So if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor, we would like to leave when we're done.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Anybody have any questions?
I'd like to make a comment. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone that is a part of the Elkton Chamber Alliance Committee, member. I do appreciate everything that you do for the town of Elkton. I know that I come by at least 3-4 times a week, and I sit in several meetings, and unless you sit in a meeting and you hear some of the facts that the Elkton Chamber Alliance Committee has been doing, you'll find out that there's, and this is just a personal statement I'm saying, you'll find that there's a lot of things that go on in the town that if you ask, if you don't have the $50,000 that the town has provided for you, what will we do, where will we get our programs, and what will actually be happening downtown? And I can tell you nothing, because the volunteer time that the people put in are the times that you say, I'm going to give my support. You don't have everybody running up, knocking down your door saying, I'm going to help. I've been in the volunteer program. I know what it's like to go find dedicated people, find people that will support for years and continue to support. And I know the funding's not the greatest, but the more money you have, the more programs you can put into the organization. And I do know that. One thing that I have to state, that when Jessica made a statement that I'm paid employee, I know for sure that what she does right now, it could be paid 2 times more than what the town has provided. This pamphlet here is made by Jessica. If you go to a printing company, a person such in her caliber would probably be paid 2 times more than what she's getting paid. This program here was made by Jessica. The talent that she has in that office, I don't want to lose you, but anyway, someone could just come steal her away with just a few dollars, but her dedication. This program here was made by Jessica. But the thing is, all these programs are being made and given out free. If you do this in a printing place, the place was shut down, closed within a day. So I'm just saying, for the time and effort that the board has been together, the programs that you've brought to the town of Elkton, I really appreciate it. I know the hard work, and I wish I could say we can give you more money, because it's definitely needed. Some people may not look at it that way, but I know the hard work that's being done in there daily, time after time, the festivals that we put on here. I mean, somehow or another, somehow the money's coming from someplace. It's the business owners, the people from the school board, all the people that are coming together and making this thing happen. So again, I want to thank you.
Yeah, I've been down there at your meetings, and I think the entire board would really like to thank you for everything you do, because we do have a lot of events in town, and without you, we probably wouldn't be able to put all those events on and draw all the people that we do downtown. So again, we want to thank you just as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good holiday.
Okay, you too.
I have a series of questions, and I applaud what you do. The first question is, basically you talked about Chrysler and their businesses, which might be related or relevant to the town of Elkton. Have you ever touched base with anybody that shares what they do as far as businesses go in Newark? And my reason being, you ride through Newark, you see nothing but businesses. And I know that's a college town as well as a business, but certainly like a coach on a football or basketball field, you can beg or bar something that somebody else is doing. Do you ever have contact with them at all?
I don't personally. I'm more involved with the education piece and what's going on at the site as far as what's coming onto that site. I attend all of the tech forum informational work sessions that they have. And I know that the businesses that they're attracting have to fall into the mission of the University of Delaware, and that's to become a technology park. There are only 600 technology parks in the world, and the Biotech Center is one of them. So can you imagine what's going to happen on the Chrysler site. It's the businesses that are coming there. The University of Delaware, their medical school is Thomas Jefferson. They're going to be there.
Right.
They're going to be bringing all those professionals. But there's not going to be enough room for people to set up businesses to support those businesses because they're technology and research businesses. So that's mostly of what I'm connected with at this time. And I don't know if somebody from the Alliance has any contact with the downtown. Downtown is set up for the college town. They're attracting a much higher level of businesses and merchants to come in there because we need that research and technology in order to stay competitive in this world.
My second question is, and I know you talked about Havre de Grace, they have a lot of volunteerism over there, and each year they have the 4th of July parade, and I believe the volunteers earn or gather something like $20,000 for the parade because they have participants coming from all over Canada and what have you. Now you're going to be having a parade for 2012. How will you fund, or how do you anticipate funding the parade that you're going to have?
Sure. Because we're unique in that we've already had parades, we have experience with parades. We will pretty much operate it like we do all of our other events. We have work plans. We set up a budget of what we anticipate all our costs will be, and then we go and we approach our businesses in the town of Elkton throughout the area. We are very lucky that we have built great relationships with our businesses that do provide sponsorship for these events, and so we will just treat it like we do all of our other events. With the Fall Fest alone, the budget on that is over $20,000, and we are able to get almost all of that through our sponsorship, so we don't anticipate that being a problem at all.
Third question, I got two more. A lot of times when you have towns and you have visitors, you know, you always talk about how many visitors you had that year or for an event. Have you all done anything to, or have a vehicle or mechanism to determine that? And a lot of the time it's nothing but an educated guess, but do you ever track or think about the number of people you've had for an event or for that entire year?
We aren't well, right now we're not really equipped to track it, other than we do have guest books that visitors sign occasionally when they come in, but not every visitor will sign. The best resource we've actually had is at our Fall Fest. The gentleman there was able to actually go up really high on the crane there, and he was able to estimate. He's, I guess, been at so many events before that he's able to estimate. So really the only numbers I have is that for our Fall Fest we typically get 10,000 to 15,000 based off of his estimates there. There's really no way to track that just because our events are free. We don't sell tickets. We don't know how many people come in. So that's
a good answer. Art and education, art entertainment. I'm sorry. Have you ever involved the school system in any way with your arts? Because they do an outstanding job, I know, at the secondary level, and certainly, you know, the more involvement you have, the better it is to get people to participate.
At the Palette and the Page, which is our artist co-op, we have featured artists from Elkton High School. So, and we've worked with the college and featured their artists also. We've also had poetry readings with one of the teachers at Cecil College. So we're bringing in the education sector into the Palette and the Page so that we can bring their art to the community. We also feature student artists at our shop that are students at Cecil College, students at some of the other schools nearby that don't pay a commission fee to be in the shop. We allow them to sell through the shop because we realize they are students, they're, you know, on a limited budget, and we're giving them the opportunity to learn how to, you know, market themselves basically.
Okay, Roger, my last question to you. Now,
Yes, sir.
If you were a little boy right now at the same time of the year sitting on Santa's lap, you're telling what you want for Christmas. Obviously, you said that you need more money for the Alliance, so what would you be asking for?
Well, we certainly would like to go back to at least the figure that we were 10 years ago. That was $100,000. We've done a substantial amount more work in recent years on half as much money as we used to get. And I point out the hotel tax because we felt that possibly that would be the least painful. This is tax that's not coming out of somebody's pocket in the town of Elkton, in other words, property taxes or user fees. But we would certainly love to have increased funding to the $100,000 level. As Jessica said earlier, most of these functions are self-supporting because we go out and we beg. We go out and we ask for money. The Halloween parade is the same way. We've been putting that on for I don't know how many years, and every year we send out letters, we have volunteers, we have people pull money out of their pocket to cover the cost of that, to ask for donations to make it happen. And in the end, we'll bring 600 kids down to the parade and 1,800 spectators on the street, and it doesn't cost the town anything because we're covering the cost of the prizes, we're covering the cost of the food. The fall festival is the same way, and we would continue doing that. What we would like to do is, with the additional funding, is as Commissioner Piner had said, expand some of the programs, some of the operations, some of the things that we do, and make them bigger, make them better, make them more efficient. And that way we would bring more people downtown. And the people that visit some of these events, I don't know how many times I run into people at the Fall Fest who say, wow, I never knew it was like this, because they were surprised. And with that additional money, I believe that we would be able to promote it through advertising and other ways to get more people down here to see what we're doing and show them what a great town this is.
Thank you for your responses.
Charlie, might I be able to respond to that?
Yes.
You saw all those folders that Earl held up?
Yes.
Jessica does those.
I know, she's very capable.
It's paper. It's the photocopy machine. It's the ditto machine. Yellow ditto.
Forget
the ditto machine.
Mimeograph.
That was accidental, believe me. The computer. We were in the office the other day. The computers were down, and guess who was trying to fix them because we didn't have any money to get them fixed? This young lady over here.
And she did.
And that happens day in and day out. And it'd be nice, you know, to have a bigger budget to do those things. We had to stop giving out material for BRAC because the county was doing a big push and going up to New Jersey. Who was making up all the packets? Mary Jo and Jessica. So, you know, those hidden expenses that you have, it would be nice to know you have a little more money to take care of that. Just wanted to add that. You well know that.
Last but not least, I'll piggyback on what everyone else has said with some personal experience along with that. Late 2005, 2006, I'll go back to the fact that you mentioned that first, you're often the first impression. And I have to say to you, you were the first impression to my family. My family moved here from North Carolina and Annapolis. We purchased 4 brand new homes, and this is our home now. You guys had a lot to do with it. I can remember getting the welcome package, moving in, and it made the town feel like a small hometown. And we really appreciate that. I really appreciate your professionalism, your time and effort that you put into this presentation. I think it's important to continue to educate the community in every way, shape, and form that we can. And I think this is another format and another form. It was my hopes that in requesting this presentation that would give you the opportunity to professionally present your needs and what you do for the community in a format which will be well received and presented. So I thank you very much for your time and efforts, and continue the great work, and it's definitely needed and noticed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Roger, could you use your radio voice again and say goodnight?
Okay, Ken? Seven Trent?
Evening, Mayor, Council.
How you doing, Ken?
Tired. I'd like to talk to you about the water and wastewater treatment facilities, Elkton facilities. And I'm going to try to make it short for you. October and November were good months again. And I always refer to the table, reported results that we send into the state, how good they are. The DOD was 0.3 average milligram per liter. 0.3. That's just unbelievable. The total nitrogen for the year is we discharged about just a little over 10,000 pounds of total nitrogen. Our permit allowed is 37,000. So we discharged a fraction of what's allowed. And the phosphorus the same way. We've discharged 289 pounds of phosphorus since last January, and we're allowed 2,787 pounds per year, and we've discharged 289. I just think that it's just something to really be proud of, in my opinion. A lot of things are going on at the plants. I just wanted to tell you one big thing that I'm really pleased about. I shared with the mayor and council the problem that we had been having filling Blue Ball Tower. If you recall, I've shared that with you. Mm-hmm. And we looked at so many different things, and we eliminated all the possibilities that we could come up with. We rebuilt the check valves, and we were looking for closed valves, and we were looking for leaks, and we were out with, we walked the alignment between Walnut Booster Station and Walnut Tower, and we were looking for leaks. We had leak detection equipment, and the town thought they had discovered a leak between the booster station and the tower, and it turned out not to be a leak at all. So we went out again and looking, we had leak detection equipment, and we found a valve on 213 that was open on the 8-inch line that comes down from Walnut Hill Tower into town. And we found the valve, and it was open. And when we shut the valve, the pumps at Walnut Hill Booster Station shut off. And that's the first time that I've walked into the pumping station since I've been with you with the pumps off. So that is a big find. Big find. So I just wanted to share that with you. The other thing is, I wanted to talk to you tonight about alternative water supplies, but I don't think it's a good time to talk about it since it's getting late. So how about if I just give you the reports, and then if you can look at them, and if you want to discuss any of the things that are in the report, I'd be more than happy come show up at the next meeting. We could talk about it then.
Yeah, even though you're going to give us the reports, can you give us a little spiel?
I sure can.
That?
Yeah, if you want me to.
Yes.
Can I can them to you first?
Yes.
I didn't want to bore you. I didn't want to just, you might have other things to do. In the report, there's a couple things that I would just take right out and so you can glance at are some maps on the town and the significant areas in the town. And I would draw attention to the mayor and council's attention to this map right here that shows the town. It shows the ball fields. It shows the cow pond, the water plant, Hatchery Park, Main Street. Shows that this is a really important drawing or map here. So when The reason I have this, we worked on this or presenting this to the mayor, let me just tell you is that Commissioner Jablonski asked me about a month or so ago, maybe a couple months ago, if I knew of any wells in the town other than the wells, our production wells, wells 1 and 3. And at the time, I really didn't know. And I said, well, you know, I'm not really familiar with the history and at the time, but I said I would look into it. So we did. We found some really interesting information. We found that in 1980, the town commissioners drilled a well, and they called it well number 4. And well number 4, they installed this well, and here's the report, the pump report on well number 4. And it's located behind Big Elkton Mall, and it's still there. And then the town hired McCrone Engineering to do the engineering for the water main and the pump building for well number 4. So well number 4, here's the engineering drawings that we found. They were all at the water plant. So the significance of that is that this well produces 175 gallons a minute. That's a lot of water. Now, we also found that, I guess it was in the 80s, the town had a well number 2 that was located right behind Denny's. So when we went to look at that, we looked at that and the property is still there, but the well was no longer there. And what we found out was that in the 80s, this number 2 well started pumping sand. And usually when a well starts pumping sand, it's for 2 reasons. Either the well screen develops a hole in it from corrosion or something like that, or the gravel pack around the screen gets dislodged and allows sand to pass through the gravel pack into the screen. But I don't know what happened. But it started pumping sand, so the mayor and council at that time or someone made a decision to abandon that well. Now that particular well pumped 220 gallons a minute. So we looked at that and we saw, well, if the town had that well number 4 and well number 2, they'd only need one more well, and they could, and then for some additional banking of water, they could provide the 1.5 million gallons back up to the surface water plant. So I thought that was really interesting. So we have the analysis of well number 4, and the water was pretty good. We also have the well reports of well number 2 and well number 3 included here. So I'd like to just briefly, do you want me to go through this real quick, or do you want me to wait, so you can look at it or digest it? It's not too much information, but it's, if you like.
Well, you started, so.
Okay. So when we looked at this, we were looking at alternatives for water supply for the town of Elkton, other than purchasing water from Artesian or United Water or any other water purveyor. Okay. We were looking at all ways that the town could produce water at an economical cost for the residents that was safe, reliable, and plenty of it. So one of the things we looked at was the expanding Cow Pond. Now, Cow Pond is an interesting thing. Back in 1985, the mayor and council, when they built the new water treatment plant, they put in provisions to run a line from Cow Pond to the new water plant. And that's this drawing right here. You have it in your pamphlet. And this is a drawing of the engineering for the inlet structure to the water plant, where the 16-inch line is going to hook up, or was going to hook up. So what the mayor and council was thinking in 1985, they realized that Big Elk Creek at times, even though it was an excellent source of water for the town, it was an interruptible source. And then, so this was before the state came along, or MDE came along and said, you know what, we realize it's an interruptible source of water, so we're going to make you develop a backup to Big Elk Creek. So in 1980, 85, I guess the mayor, I don't know who the mayor and council were at that time, but they were aware of the vulnerability of Big Elk Creek from pollution or drought. So what their concept was at that time was to develop Cow Pond and make it basically a raw water reservoir to supply the town with water if something were to happen temporarily to Big Elk Creek, whether it was somebody spilled something, gasoline or some type of poison or something into the creek, they could shut the creek down and then draw water out of the Cow Pond. So that was a concept that they looked at, and I guess they envisioned doing that. So what we did was we looked at coming up with a number to satisfy that 1.5 million gallon requirement in your withdrawal permit from MDE, okay? Because that's what the town is required to have 1.5 million gallon backup to the surface water treatment plant. So we looked at well 4 and well 2 and a new well, we called it well 5. And that well, we thought the excellent location would be down near Elk Landing. And we have a lot of reasons to tell you that. So if you were able to put in a small well down in that area, about 300 gallon per minute well is all you need, and then you took Cow Pond and excavated it and increased the size by maybe a third, you could bank enough water in Cow Pond and you could install, put a pump in well 4, re-drill well 2, and drill a well down in the vicinity of Elk Landing, and you can you can have 1.5 million gallon backup, and that's all you will need. And it's my feelings that it's definitely doable. Now the other thing with I was talking to Earl about Cow Pond, and he said an interesting thing to me. He said, man, what if we could do something about the flooding? You know, and I'm like, well, I don't know if you can use it as a stormwater management pond and use it as a raw water reservoir at the same time. So that didn't work well. But then I thought, well, if you're going to excavate Cow Pond, you're going to have all this soil, and you're going to have so much cubic yards of soil that you could take and you could build a berm along Big Elk Creek in those areas that are prone for flooding. So I'm down at the wastewater treatment plant, and I'm looking at Big Elk Creek, and I don't know when they did it, but sometime in the history of Elkton, somebody decided to build a berm along Big Elk Creek and the wastewater treatment plant, and it runs from Route 40 down along the creek, and it comes around right to the county jail, and it's about 5 foot high, and it's a beautiful berm. So I'm like, well, if the town excavated the Cow Pond, they could probably do it with their own staff, so that they could increase the size of this pond, the bank water. They could take the soil and construct this berm around the ball fields. They could put it around, protect the park. They could put it down along Bridge Street. They could put it behind the businesses on Bridge Street, protect them from flooding. It's doable. And so this map here that I'm showing you, outlines those areas along the creek that you would need to construct a berm to protect the ball fields and the park there, and here, and then of course Bridge Street here. But you know, it's something to think about, you know. Very good.
So also in this, I want to point out when you look at it that the USGS survey was out, and they drilled a couple test boreholes recently. I know Lewis told you about it at the meetings. And one of the boreholes they put in was at well 3, and one of the boreholes they put in was right next to the treatment plant in that on the west side of the wastewater treatment plant in that corn area field lot. And I've included the electric logs of the borehole in here. And what they found is they found that they were able to drill a borehole 200 feet down before they hit bedrock. So that's significant because the wells
like well 1 and well 2 and well 3 and well 4, they're only 100-foot, 110-foot wells. So the fact is that as you're moving, the further south you move, like as you go out towards Oak Landing, what you're going to find is you're going to get further out in what they call the coastal plain, and it's going to allow you to dig a deeper hole, a deeper well, and I think that this bore log demonstrates that they were able to go down 200 feet to hit bedrock. So down there, so the further south you go, the deeper in soil that you'll get. So, you may be able to go 300 feet. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means that if you can put a deeper well in, chances are you're going to get a lot more water. That's what that means. So there's one other concept in here that I mentioned to you, and that is they call it riverbank filtration. And it's pretty cool. It's not done in the state of Maryland that I know of anywhere, but it's done in the United States all over the country. And what they do is, if they have a shallow river, or like the Mississippi or Missouri River, which are very shallow, they're unable, towns along the river, and they're unable to build an intake out into the river. So what they do is they put in these shallow wells along the riverbank, and then they draw out water out of the well, and the well pulls in groundwater, it pulls in surface water as well. So the well is considered under the influence of surface water. Now, that area down there is an excellent area because you have Big Elk Creek, you have Little Elk Creek, and you have Elk River all coming together. So there's a lot of water there, and there's enough water there that there's so much water there, it's unbelievable. Now the only disadvantage of that is that it's water under the influence of surface water, just like Big Elk Creek is. So you have to provide treatment for it. You'd have to provide filtration. That's the law nowadays. You would have to provide filtration as a treatment process. Unlike when you put in wells, usually you don't have to provide any type of treatment other than chlorination, which is disinfection, or adjust the pH, the alkalinity, make the water non-corrosive, that type of thing, which is minimum. So you have to add chemicals. But when you treat surface water, you have a surface water treatment plant, you have to provide coagulation, flocculation, settling, and then filtration, and then disinfection. So it's a lot more complicated and it's more costly. But, there's plenty of water there as well. So, in my opinion, you can find there's probably enough groundwater that you wouldn't need to consider that, but that as an option is viable as well. So.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Gives us something to look at and something to think about.
Yeah, if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to come back and answer them for you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ken.
I can appreciate your time looking into that.
Yeah.
I first heard him speak of this. It was exciting because it gave us another option to look at. I know some people have got years of history on some of these properties. Even though you have that history, we haven't heard of this. And it's good to bring this to us so that we can understand some of the background. And hopefully it will be an alternative for us in the future. If not, at least thank you for looking into it.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ken.
I definitely want to add to that, Ken. Thank you. Looks like you've been thinking outside the box, and that's what we need to do. Look for different alternatives to keep things in line, keep those rates. And
I agree.
so we really appreciate that.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ken. Okay, Lois.
The item I have tonight is ordinance 5-2011. It was introduced on November 16th. Presented tonight for adoption. These are the rates that are recommended by Municipal Financial Services Group to the town in order to maintain the viability of the water fund. I would suggest that the board pursue the adoption of this ordinance this evening.
Okay, we have a motion to accept ordinance 5-2011. I have a motion to accept ordinance 5-2011, water and sewer rates.
So moved.
I have a motion, I have a second.
I'll second.
Any other further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Motion carried.
Without that adoption, how much money will the town be losing per month, finance person?
How much
Yes.
money without adopting this?
Yes.
Without the adoption.
I don't have a figure.
I thought you had a figure not so long ago.
Pardon?
I thought you had a figure.
Well, the difference more or less, I guess, what he's asking, what we're behind now, or I guess what you...
Well, I'd say where we are right now, currently in cash position with the water fund. Is that what you mean?
I thought we was losing so much money.
Take it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
What's in there tonight?
Well, then
How
I
much
didn't say
money
that.
we're
I asked
losing?
him a question.
Like what we lost up so thus far. I guess, you know,
Well,
the
right
difference
now,
between,
right now, you just signed checks this evening of $129,000 for the water fund, and we have a balance of less than $12,000 in the water fund.
so we're in the hole.
That's correct right now, on a cash basis.
That's what it's saying.
That's correct.
That's why I asked him.
Okay, so I thought you were...
That's okay. Can you state that so I didn't get it?
Okay, the checks that Commissioner Gibbons are signing tonight include $129,000 in bills to be paid against the water fund. The balance in the water fund right now is less than $12,000.
Okay. So without the adoption of this, what would happen?
Well, that the deficit would continue to grow, and by adopting these rates, they will not be reflected on the bills until the April 1st bills. So this is a increase it's a large increase certainly to catch up where our revenues have been short of our expenditures over the past like a year and a half.
Thank you.
Old business, thing I have is that we did receive a letter back from Artesian, and they're willing to meet, but we're still waiting to see, I guess, on their agenda, what they're going to do. Louis, have you got, I know you sent a letter to Joe DiNezio. Have you any response back from them yet? Once we hear back from them, then we possibly be able to set up a meeting and get that and see what they have to offer us to help us out here a little bit.
I think Mary Jo brought up a significant point. If and when you meet with Artesian again, and since it's going to be with perhaps the mayor and one board member, basically there should be documentation, because certainly two people representing five, you need to know what's going on, because in the long run you have to make a decision. You certainly want to know what's going on. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me, but foremost, why will we be meeting with them?
We need to see if they'll work with us and help us maybe do something to bring down these rates. And we can try and see, we'll just have to listen to them and see if there's anything we can do.
Okay, because it was under my understanding that we've met with them several times already, and we've actually asked that question before.
Now, let's see. Mary Jo, you have any old business?
Old business, I just want to mention the holiday decorating contest. I sent an email out. All entries must be in by Friday, December 16th for those homes that want to participate. If everyone is able to judge Monday, December 19th, does anyone have a problem with that date?
What you said,
Mayor,
the 19th?
commissioners.
I'm sorry, you said the 19th?
Monday, the 19th. that evening. So then the winners can be announced at the following meeting, and they'll have their money before Christmas.
Sounds good.
What time did you say?
Did you want to do 5?
Okay, we'll
Is that
see.
too early, 5:30?
Do we have like a rain date?
Do we have a rain date? Not yet, because I was
Rain
waiting to
date?
see if the date was okay with
Okay.
the rest
No,
of
no
you.
problem. Okay.
We'll get back, I guess we'll get back to you and let you know.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's all I have. Old business.
I don't have no old business, but a comment towards Commissioner Hicks, what he was asking, who were we meeting with Artesian for? I thought the option was to try to meet with them before we incurred any expenses. And right now, meeting with them to try to offset raising any cost or prices was what really the goal for meeting with them, but I don't think the board pushed far enough or fast enough to do that. And whoever meets with them this time, I'm not sure whether we're going to get the same results, but I had another reasoning for meeting with them, not just to meet and see what they're going to do for us. Meet with them and ask them how they can work with us as far as to offset this cost.
Right.
But right now, we already put the ordinance in place, so right now we're just meeting with my guests.
Well, see, I have this same comment here because I was going to piggyback on the same thing. I thought we collectively as a board knew exactly that we were losing money, and you wanted to adopt this to put something in order. But the purpose, I thought, meeting with United and Artesian was to come up with a way to reduce the cost in the future. You could always change the rate.
Right.
And we always can change. I mean, we
Change,
could
yeah.
do a budget amendment in the future,
That's
but I
right.
think right now, we're losing $100 and some thousand today with the rates where they're at. So we have to do something today so we don't lose any more money, but we always can do a budget amendment in the future if we still have to move forward with these meetings and see if they will work with us. But the timing, I don't think, was right with anyone, and so one happened before the other. But we still have to do everything we can to try and get them to lower the rates that
And I
we
thought
have
that's
right
why
now.
Ken gave his report too, was to
Right.
have another source
Exactly,
of
have
possible
another source.
help
We need
us.
some other possibilities. I think Commissioner Hicks said it right. We need to look outside the box and look for other alternatives.
Well, I think we need to get all alternatives, like we said. If we find something that is workable and we can reduce the rates, we can always make the adjustment and amendment to the situation and change it.
And I certainly agree with what everyone on the board has said. And I think it's very important that we, again, continue to look outside the box and get all of our information, ducks in a row, if you want to say. And then as a board, we set up meetings to intelligently look for and ask for what we need for these rates to be more reasonable to our residents.
Is that all? Any other business?
No, that's it.
Commissioner Hicks, any other business? Okay. I just have a couple of things now. I think everybody might have heard, but congratulations are in order for Officer First Class Josh LaFew. On Friday, December 2nd, Officer LaFew was recognized as a top performer in making DWI addressed by the Maryland chapter of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. During the period of September 1st, 2010 through August 31st, 2011, he removed 28 drunk drivers from Elkton's roadway. I think that's remarkable. We have someone out there looking out after the community and getting these people off the road so no one is injured or maimed, and an excellent job with the Elkton Police Department. So, Chief, relay our congratulations to him, too. We had appointment. I got an appointment for the our Board of Appeals appointment. And I'd like to make a recommendation that we appoint Jason L. Allison, Esquire, to be our new lawyer for the Board of Appeals. I think you all got a copy of his resume. So if I get a motion to accept him.
So move.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, I think that's all. Mary Jo?
I just wanted to commend Officer LaFew also.
Earl? Charlie?
I was at the Acme getting some medicine the other night, and for some unknown reason, the pharmacist stated that the town of Elkton has a very good prescription plan, if that means anything. And of course, Becky's not here. We certainly had a card available for her for her 71st birthday, so that's unfortunate. But bless her anyway. That's it.
Mr. Hicks?
I just wanted to congratulate Officer LaFew as well. And happy birthday to Miss McKinney. Okay, and that's it for me.
And we'll send the card out to her. Okay. Sharon? There she is.
Step into the podium.
There's no podium. You can sit down.
You can relax and sit down in front of the mic there.
I forget procedure, name and address. Sharon Sexton, 146 East Main Street, Elkton. I'm not feeling well tonight, but I'll do my best. I want to bring before you a situation which I first brought to the attention of Mary Jo regarding cycles that are being stored, motorcycles that are being stored in the Ritz Apartments in a room. There's no outside garage, so the room, if you're on the sidewalk, the room where they're stored behind locked doors where the mini blinds are pulled down is visibly seen from the sidewalk, not the cycles, but if you go inside and you look under the mini blinds, they're in there. So I have something prepared, and I'll try to be as brief as I can. Okay, I have decided to go public with the information which will follow because I believe the person whom I went to file a complaint about a potentially dangerous situation has just not been forthcoming, honest, and truthful. And I believe he's lying to me, and I'm being real, and I'm being honest and to the point. That's the only way to be, okay? And because of this, I believe nothing is going to be done to deal with this situation, which is, on September 12th of this year, I went to Craig Trossel and made a complaint about motorcycles that are being stored behind locked doors just inside the Ritz Apartments, 100 East Main Street, citing this is illegal and it could develop into a serious situation. This is a potential threat to life and property. Craig Trossel told me we take all complaints seriously, and if we find cycles in there, they will be removed immediately. Craig Trossel also cited prior instances of removal of cycles from housing where explosions and fire have occurred because of stored cycles, namely one at Hollingsworth Manor and one on West Main Street, okay? He assured me something will be done. I told Craig Trossel children wait immediately in the building right next to it for the school bus there. It's my understanding that Jimmy Ruth is the owner of the Howard House, is the landlord of the building. Terry Ruth being his brother. I very specifically told Craig Trossel where the cycles are being stored. In the room directly beyond the main entrance, behind locked doors, where the mini blinds are pulled down. I must have told him 3 or 4 times. I also said the cycles are being. I'm sorry. I specifically told him not be in the room beyond the window that's visible. That's beyond the window to the left. There's a little room, it's rectangular, and there's a window outside, and there's a room that's connected there. Not there, and I said where the mini blinds are, okay? I even specifically repeatedly told him, in the room behind the mini blinds. The cycles are in this room. the owner of the cycles, which is a guy who works during the week. He brings the cycles out on the weekends. There have been a lot of times I walk past the building and the doors would be open and the cycles, anybody can see him. And he rides them out and rides around town and he parks them at the Howard House, okay? All right? He does it during the weekend, and the weekends he brings them out and parks them at the Howard House. Okay. I wanted to get a shot of the cycles, which I had. Okay, 6 a.m. I'll get up, and it's hard to get a good shot of the cycles behind glass. So I did my best, but I do have some with me, and I did get a shot of a cycle. Okay, okay. There's also other people in this town who have also seen the guy ride his cycles out. Okay, and seen the cycles in there, and okay. And this week I observed another cycle being added to the build in the room, which makes it maybe 3 or 4. Craig also told me to check back with him in a couple of days. It is my understanding. Oh, it's in my notes, but I think I checked back. We see this is the 12th. On the 16th, I went back to Craig Trussell, and he said, this is what he said to me. We looked into the window from the outside and did not see anything. I thought, you can't be serious. Are you serious? Remembering, I repeatedly, specifically told him, not behind the window to the left, they're behind the mini blind, where the mini blinds are. They're behind there. And just listening to his ridiculous story, I concluded he's not being forthcoming, not being honest. Why? Does he think I'm stupid? Do you think I'm stupid and naive? Craig Trussell, like, what is going on? Who are you protecting, covering for, and why? Craig Trussell agreed that this is a potentially serious situation and not to take it, not to assume nothing will happen. The owner of these cycles smokes. He smokes, and they're stored with gasoline in there. And someone could, property could be killed, and someone could be seriously injured, and be a lot of damage to property. And I also thought, well, CT, you're there. Why not say, well, they're not in here. Well, maybe they're in this other room. You can go inside. It's public access. Maybe they're in there where the mini blinds are. I'm thinking, but he didn't do that. He didn't say he went in there. And I'm thinking, why? Why didn't he do this? I specifically, repeatedly told him they're in there, not in the room behind the window. And I'm thinking, why? Why is the landlord allowed to continue to? I mean, from my understanding, from information, these cycles have been stored there for years. And why is the owner allowed to do this? Why is the owner of the landlord allowed to allow someone to do this? And so again, I had to tell him on the 16th. I said, not behind. I told him again. I said specifically, behind the mini blinds. He says, oh, okay. I thought, well, why? Why do I have to tell you again? So, okay, listen. Straight ahead, you look at the mini blind. But nobody ever did anything. So I went back on the 7th of November. I went back to Craig Trussell and I gave him time. I said, I'll give him time, whatever's going on. I went back to Craig Trussell and was told, we did see the cycles and the fire marshal has been notified. Now it's up to him to go and investigate this. How long it would take, I do not know. I asked him, when did you talk to the fire marshal? And he said, about 3 weeks ago, which would make it mid-November. Okay, now there's been almost 3 months, because on the 12th, it'll be 3 months, and the cycles, as of today, 4:04 p.m., there are cycles still in that room, still there. And I'm thinking, why? Why other people have to comply with the law, the rules, and regulations? Why are these people allowed to do this? And that's what I'm asking, why?
Well, then I guess what we're going to have to do is get with Mr. Trussell and get with Mr. Trussell and ask him about who the fire marshal was. And then we contact the fire marshal, get some information from the fire marshal as to what happened. Because they would have jurisdiction over that.
Yes, I understand that, but it's been like a long time, and I mean, if something happened, you can imagine,
right.
The seriousness of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering why nothing is being done.
All right, let us look into it. We'll find out. Have to get with Craig, like I said, and contact. I don't know which fire marshal he's contacted.
Yeah.
Probably the one that's got this district,
Okay.
and we can check out with him.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you for
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Litzenberg?
I'd like to wait till after Mr. Nicholson speaks, please. I'd like to follow him.
Rob may have more to say than I have. James C. Nicholson, 113 North Street, Elkton, Maryland. I want to read into the minutes what I'm going to say now will be in the minutes. I don't have to have a copy, I just want to read into the minutes. Okay, thank you. This is, I'm going to read from the, and by the way, the Alliance report was the best choreography work I've ever seen in my life. I was in modern dance at the University of Maryland, and I never danced as well as you did at the Alliance. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, I want to read from the Elkton Alliance Incorporated Board of Directors, Monday, August the 1st, 2011 minutes. Quoting, car show. Mrs. Jablonski stated the last car show was very well attended. She stated there was a problem though. Mr. Frank Brown, a volunteer for the Elkton Alliance, was approached and provoked by Mr. James Nicholson and two younger gentlemen. This is the third time Mr. Nicholson has caused a problem at a car show. And then Mr. Owens, which is another member of your group, state everyone gets business when there are events and question how the Alliance should handle the situation. Mayor Fasano stated he would investigate further. Mr. Hicks stated the town should make a statement that will not tolerate people being threatened. Mayor Fasano, did you approach Mr. James Nicholson and ask his side of this problem you had?
No.
Speak up.
No.
Okay. And also, the other problems, did you have 3 problems with Mr. Nicholson? You had 3 problems with him? What were the problems? Speak up.
I did not personally, someone from the guests
Wait
that were
a
in our
minute.
town-
I'm asking you a question. All I want is an answer. And I want it in the records for the reason you're sitting there criticizing a man that has a business in downtown Elkton that's been here all his life, 3rd generation business, still making $1 as a retailer, never been approached, and causing this type, ruining my reputation for 3 generations of family in downtown Elkton. I want to know why you never checked and came and asked Mr. Nicholson's response. Well, there's nothing else to say then, is it? No, what do you want to say?
Can my assistant answer your question? I don't know, it's up to the mayor and commissioners, being she's here.
Well, I don't want her to answer. I want you. You're in charge. What is she going to? I don't even know the lady. She's never approached me. All she's going to tell what she heard from you said.
She took the minutes. Her name is recorded on the.
I'm not.
Not mine.
I know that, but it's the minutes. You approved the minutes.
I don't. I'm not a board member.
The Alliance approved the minutes.
This is not, it's Jessica recorded the minutes. If he would like to come in the office and ask her about them, or if the board wishes, she can answer your questions now. I do not record the minutes.
Okay.
And I do not vote on them.
That's fine. Yeah, come on up. Protect yourself.
Sure. First of all, I believe the Elkton Alliance minutes are not an issue for the town of Elkton, so I don't know if this should be settled or not, but I'm more than willing to go on if you'd like me to. I can just tell you what I know. The first incident, as far as I'm aware, is a lady that came to a car show, came in to his business and asked for water for a dog, and she was told to get the F out of here. That was the first incident. The second instance was a gentleman and a daughter who came in to use the bathroom, and I believe she was told that she was drunk and the gentleman came over to our table at the car show and got very angry and left and said he would never come back. Both instances, actually, I believe, they left and said they would never come back. However, we were able to contact someone on the board was able to contact the second gentleman, and he actually did end up coming back. And then this would have been the third incident. I can just tell you that I heard the people that this happened to said that it happened, but I did not witness any of them. That's all I can say.
That's all I'd like to. Thank you very much. Okay, then how come no one approached me after these incidents happened? I could tell you about a couple incidents that did happen. All three of them. We don't use language like that in my place. It could have been another customer outside, or what it could have been, I don't know, but we don't use language like that in my establishment. Well, thanks for your time.
I recall she told.
Up next. Bob Litzenberg, 105 Walnut Lane, Elkton. First, I'd like to say a real thank you for voting no on the amendment you had and so forth. And I think you guys asked questions after you voted. You should have asked the questions before you voted. You might have had a little more input. Ken spoke on water, about the fish pond there, the cow pond. Dick Reed would be the one for you to talk to, because Dick was the town administrator when this was going on. And on numerous occasions, Dick has talked about the fish ponds being areas that they were thinking about at one time, were acting as reservoirs. And there's enough fish ponds out there in that meadow to take care of all the water you possibly need. About a well, there's a well at the foot of Bridge Street, used to be Keys and Miller's. Earl would remember it. Charlie probably drank out of it like we all did with the copper cup.
That's true.
Everybody drank out of the same cup. Everybody got sick from that well. The rest of you weren't in town at the time. Now, about volunteerism, the Alliance, they do a lot of volunteering, fine, that's great. And let me tell you something about what the town used to do with volunteers. I was the president of the Elkton Lions Club many years ago, and we built the pavilions in the park that's out here right now. It didn't cost the town 1 cent. The Lions Club built those. My wife was the president of the Women's Civic Club at the time. They ran the Fall Fest at no cost to the town. This is what volunteering is done. Chamber of Commerce didn't do it, but these organizations in the town did that. The parades and so forth were done. The Fall Fest, and Mr. Nicholson right here, he paid for the staging, the entertainment, all of that was paid by him at no expense for the town. Over 12 years or so, the town has given the Elkton Alliance $1 million, close to $1,200,000. I might be wrong on the 200,000, but I know they've given them over $1 million. If it works well, that's one thing. But from what I can see, the downtown part of this thing of Elkton is not a good downtown. They talk about Haverty Grace spending $300,000. I would imagine that comes from the Chamber of Commerce from them. I can't say for sure. Northeast, the Chamber of Commerce does theirs town, and it seems like anybody does any comparison, they never use Northeast or Chesapeake City. That's right here in our county. They pay for that themselves. The Chamber of Commerce does all that. And I think Chesapeake City is just beginning to get a Chamber of Commerce. One of these, I think this might be even the same thing, August the 1st, Firefighter Fest. Mrs. Jablonski stated she has been receiving less sponsorships this year for the event. Mayor Fasano stated he would deliver a letter to the Farmers Association for the Alliance. Mr. Dennis inquired on the price of the event. Mr. Jablonski stated it cost roughly $20,000. Mayor Fasano stated he would also contact the town's engineering company, KCI, for sponsorships. Years ago, I would imagine that anybody does business with the town, I suppose that you go to them for sponsorships. I know you've gone, the Ingram Group has paid money to the several organizations here and so forth. Years ago, the mafia would do that to businesses that they would be supposedly called extortion. Now it's called sponsorships for programs that you run.
How much does it cost the town for overtime for all these projects you have? When these other organizations did these projects, it didn't cost the town one thing because the people, members of the organizations would put up the barriers. They monitored everything themselves. You didn't have to pay overtime to the town employees or the police department. It's just, these are just comments and observations. And I'm not saying that everything is wrong with what the Elkton Alliance is allowed to do. Some of the things they like to do, I think we all would agree with. Downtown is a disaster in this town of Elkton. If they want to, if this lady back here would like to put ribbons on something, maybe they could go to the tattoo parlor, put it on your arm, or put it on the hookers that are downtown, or put ribbons on the drugs that are being sold here, the little packets that are drugs. It's done downtown every single day. Whether you see it or not, everybody else in this town does. And I don't know what the answer is, but it should be cleaned up somehow or another. And I think that on this board ought to be directing to the chief of police to say, you got to do something with it, whether you put officers down there undercover to get rid of the hookers or have somebody go down from another police department. I know they work together on these things. Get another police department there and send somebody down to buy drugs and arrest them on the spot. Because the town is full of it, particularly the downtown area.
Thank you. Patty, pause. Patty?
I'm Patty Paulus. I live at 1357 Fair Hill Lane in Elkton, Maryland. I am one of the business owners in Elkton, one of the new business owners. I'm part of the Pallet and the Page. Been here since November of 2009. I've lived in Cecil County for 24 years. I see that in support of the Alliance, they helped us get started, and they've backed off now, and we are running our own business. We are bringing people downtown on our First Friday event. We started with maybe 20, 25 people. There have been First Fridays where we've had over 100 people through our doors. When Art Space on Main had their Empty Bowls event, and the Arts Council had their event, and we had our event, and Artistic Chris Studios on North Street were open, there were lots of people walking downtown, lots of people visiting shops, spending money, and talking about how great it was that they could walk in downtown and that they felt safe. And they felt safe because there were people walking downtown. There have been undercover operations. They've used our store, the police department. We call them when there's a problem, and they are there within minutes to still witness the event. And I do want to speak for Jessica. I think that woman works above and beyond the call of duty. She is involved in every event. She walks around the town. She visits the merchants. I don't know all the merchants that she's visiting, and Margie and Jessica, as A&E people and Elkton Alliance people, do that and have been very influential in what's going on downtown with this December event. And as the Pallet and the Page, we have called meetings with other merchants to try to move in a positive direction. The negativity has to stop. We have to move forward in a positive way. And that's what we're trying to do by creating events that bring people into downtown. And I just have to say that we are in a different place. We have to play police for these events because of the liability. It can't just be regular citizens. It has to be police because of the financial implications and the safety implications. So it does cost a little bit more money, and I would support if there's any way of giving more money to the Alliance so that we can do more. We need to do more. Because I am where I am, and we have artists coming in from Delaware, from Pennsylvania. We sponsor local artists. They bring their families in. They say, where can we go to do some more shopping? Where can we go to get something to eat? Where can we go? What else can we do? I've had BRAC people come in. It's happening. It's just slow. It takes time. And our business is growing in a very poor economic time. So it is doable. It is doable, but we just need more support. And I just wanted to speak on behalf of, as a business owner now, which I never believed I would be, But I am, and I'm proud to say I'm here in Elkton, and there's a lot of potential in this town. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Mike Radcliffe? Mike? No Mike? Okay. Chief, can we get some, if we already have, I might not, but foot patrols downtown for this month, at least for the holidays and
We
evening?
have it lined up for the regular patrol and
Yeah?
during Christmas.
Okay, very good.
All the shopping centers.
Okay, very good. Okay, hearing anything else, get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Motion is, this meeting is adjourned.